This is the Be One Change One podcast, where our mission is to help listeners define values, practice integrity, and inspire change.
Our vision is to mentor men and empower them to achieve more by taking responsibility for shaping their own lives.
He's CAS, an evolving man who has been shaped by adversity and continues to grow through his imperfections.
And he's Roscoe, an imperfect work in progress that tries to suck less every day.
Between us, we have over 40 years of Air Force fighter pilot experience with countless hours as trainers, instructors, and mentors.
Join us and learn to take responsibility for your own life as we dive into subjects from leadership to resilience to vulnerability.
Be the one who changes their course. Be decisive, driven, and purposeful. Set the example for others. Lead. We wish we'd had this show when we were younger men.
Be the one.
So you had two tasks this morning. You failed at both.
I did.
Yeah.
Did we?
Over.
Oh, yeah.
Is it good? I can never remember if red is good or
Don't
green
worry,
is good.
I did everything this
report
morning.
Is red's usually bad?
Illuminated.
Yeah, but it's always illuminated when it's on. So red's usually bad. So I always think that green is anyways, whatever.
Well,
it
this
doesn't
thing was
matter.
made
No,
in
let's
Taiwan
unpack
by
this.
Louis Bitter.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's talk about you and your hatred.
Yeah. So hey, ones, we are doing a pod. We got Francis back on, i.e., man of awkward social
long
pauses. So expect 6-second delays. As we talk today.
Of the year.
Once again,
It's just-
what do I do with my hands?
Dude, the squirrels only run so fast, right? And I know they got to catch up. That's what the pause is for. We get it. But so
Sit on them. It probably feels good.
it's just a little background. Rob's been going through a pretty big.
Rob, I'm confused.
Sorry, Francis has been going through
You know
a
what?
pretty big. I threw that out there for Susie. A pretty big transformation ish in the last 6 to 9 months. I think that's
Right.
fair to say.
Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of effort, a lot of adversity, a lot of resiliency, and not just work in a physical aspect to get in, a healthier place for yourself, but a lot of work on the emotional side of the house too, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today, because you never know when one person's story is going to resonate with somebody else where they're at, meet them where they're at, and then inspire a little bit of change, which is what we're all about here on the Be One Change One podcast. But before we got to that, I had a really great opener for today, and this could get a little heavy. So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. And it's for both of you. It's for Roscoe and it's for Francis. So I want you guys to, I want you guys to think about this, and I want you to consider it, and then we'll go from there. But all right.
Uh-oh. This is going to hurt.
Yeah. You ready?
Hold on.
You ready?
Okay.
Alabama's not in the national championship for the first time in like a decade.
Never heard.
Georgia is.
Thank you. Go Dogs.
Oh, Alabama sucked. Well, they didn't suck.
He's no fun. He doesn't get angry
No.
about it. He's
No, come on, man. You got the South Carolina, that's the Georgia Bulldog boy right here.
Well, I'm from the great state of South Carolina. If you could maybe refer to
The
it
great
as,
state.
It is actually.
Dude, I live there. It
great
fucking
state of South
sucks.
Carolina. Dude, it hurts me. Actually, you lived in my hometown.
That makes it even worse.
Dude, it's so awesome. Ward's Barbecue, talk it up. But Alabama, yeah, preeminent powerhouse.
I think the word you were looking for was perennial, not whatever.
I think the word you were looking for was previous.
I'm just gonna not talk, and you guys are gonna tell me what word.
Words mean things.
You're right, Georgia. However, Georgia's interesting though. They'll do great against Tennessee. They'll get, they'll get up and crush it, and then like Liberty will come in and like
Take them to the wire.
8 overtimes. It's awesome.
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because we talk about on here all the time. We talk about emotional regulation.
Yep.
We talk about accountability. We talk about seeing things for what they are,
Yep.
and that space between and all that stuff, right? And that's exactly the way that I viewed as a fan. That's the way I viewed the Alabama football season. It was up and down. They played great. They played shitty. They were the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of the SEC.
Yeah.
And they didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Now, you could have made I think the committee probably had a pretty good discussion about it. And
I don't envy the
on
position they were
paper,
in. Yeah.
on paper, yeah, you can probably make the argument, but the eye test just they were not.
They weren't there this
They
year.
weren't there this year.
Yeah.
Well,
man.
somebody needs to get railroaded in the first round, and it will be SMU. And
I
mean,
think
it's
so.
just like,
I think I think that this 12. Nikki and I ran he was out for Thanksgiving or something, and we started going through. We actually put together a 64 team bracket. We took the top 64 teams as they were ranked that week, put them into a bracket just like March Madness, and ran a simulation with it.
Right.
And it was awesome, man. You get these Cinderella teams that, any given Saturday kind of mentality, and
that's the way it is now.
Illinois
right?
beating who they beat Notre Dame, or Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame out of nowhere. So I think it could be done. You play an 8-game regular season. You get one bye week. They're all in conference. No more of this Bama playing Mercer and Georgia playing Jim Bob's University. You play everything in conference. You get one bye week, and at the end, everybody's ranked 1 through 64. Boom, into a bracket, north, south, east, west. Play it out.
But then the committee will be out of a job because they can't spend 3 days arguing strength of schedule.
And that's why it'll never happen, because of dollar signs.
Yeah,
these powerhouses, the Georgias, Ohio States, the Bamas, the Texases, they have to have the revenue of their fan base to pay for the big name stars to come to their team so that they can be competitive. And
circle back to Alabama, though, it's nice to have Nick Saban out in public, right? Because before he was Alabama's head coach, and he existed in a vacuum there. And if you're inside those walls, you understand the process that and his genius. Now he's out in public with a tie on, talking to us on game day, and just the satellites that guy's tracking.
What's really fun for me, though, man, is now you can kind of see into his nugget a little bit.
Yeah.
And when he gets up there and does film breakdown and see what he sees, and he goes, see this guy, he's 1 foot to the outside of the numbers. I need him 1 foot inside the numbers. And I'm like,
that guy had cornflakes for breakfast, and that's why he's about to miss this next.
His shoes are tied left over right. They should be right over left. It makes him more aerodynamic. Yeah.
Welcome to it, man.
Good opener, #fail. But
it was good.
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
No, but I like the emotional regulation piece because, we've had Alicia on a couple of times, and she's, big brain, emotional intelligence, and all that stuff. We're big Seahawks fans, and the Seahawks have had a very similar season to Bama, right? New head coach, very up and down, very hot and cold. They'll go out and run with Detroit, and then they'll lose to the Giants the next week. Get blown out by the Giants.
Up last night?
And last night they lost to the Packers, which was a big game. And, here I've got the emotional, intelligent, therapist wife who is about to fucking pull the TV off of the wall. She's yelling and swearing at it so much. She's so pissed off, and I'm sitting here going, it's all new coaches. It's a whole new coaching staff. Like, it's a young team. They're trying to find and guess what? They're not at that tier yet. They're the tier below right now. They're they haven't had the time and the reps and they don't have all the players that they want to have yet. Like, they haven't filled all the holes, so to speak.
Money,
Well, and
they're just not there yet.
There's an entire generation of people out there right now that my kids are in this generation. They don't know football without Nick Saban in it. And so
people are bumping into walls
from as far back as they can remember.
Yeah, it's always been Saban.
Crimson Tide shirts to work or to school every day, and Bama wins on the weekends, and now everybody's kind of taking this step back going, man, they suck. Dude, okay, new head coach, lost a whole bunch of players to NIL, man. I mean,
NIL made everything weird.
By definition, and, words mean things, by definition, this is a rebuilding year for Bama. And they still almost made the cut.
Yeah, that's true. If this is a rebuilding year, then we got problems.
I mean, yeah. So I'm excited to see what years like 3 and 4 are going to look like for Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
I think, once he really establishes his recruiting,
a good coach, man.
And he is. And once he establishes his recruiting, and I mean, unfortunately though, like Texas and Georgia, man, holy crap. Yeah, they're in a different league this year.
They're pipe hitting right now.
Yeah.
Well, then I think NIL makes it all different than it used to be too, because you've still got powerhouse schools that are going to be able to bring guys in, but now you're getting this mix of Dion and now Belichick and these NFL coaches
Belichick going back to college.
It's so weird, right?
When you were a kid, right?
It's just weird, right? So, and how kids are going to move around now, just chasing getting to the professional level and having a certain pedigree attached to them because of who's the head coach. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go ahead.
Circle back to Alicia. I have a podcast idea.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Did it hurt?
Yesterday after the half marathon, we're riding in the back seat of Cass's car. Alicia's currently the driver. And I wish I'd have had a camera on to tape the exchanges between Cass and his wife. I would pay money
Why? I don't even remember it,
You
dude.
two are a train wreck, dumpster fire shit show tumbling down the tracks headed towards a nuclear power. Absolutely hysterical.
Specifics, go.
Alicia is very hyper focused on everything on the road. Cass picks his phone up to look at it, gets in the way of her view of the mirror.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Separates his skull from his shoulders. And so he feels the need while we're moving, hurtling down the road in a piece of metal to keep bringing his phone up into her field of view just to piss her off. It's like this. And I whisper over to Cedar, see, he does it too.
Yeah. See? Well,
But
hey, this is I just spent a week down in Orlando at the Lockheed Martin factory,
Right.
like the home, the flagpole, if you will. And the whole time we're walking around all these labs and all this geekery, like I was super impressed with the level of nerdage in this place.
Right.
Like we're talking like I'd like to see the cumulative IQ of people in this building.
Right.
But anyways, we're walking around and there's like every time we'd walk into a room, I'd go up and I'd push a button or I'd pull a lever, and the guys are like, well, "Let's go." Like, what? Are you a child? I said, "Dude, if there's a button, I'm going to push it.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't say fire or turn off, like this is going to kill the entire enterprise.
And even if it does,
I'm going to push it. I want to see what it does, man."
Yeah.
And that was kind of the story of me flying jets. Was people would, Roscoe, what's the HOTAS for? I don't know. Just push
them all.
buttons.
Yeah.
Push buttons until it does what you want it to, and you'll win.
Yeah, right on.
Demas left. It fixes everything.
Dauber down, right?
Oh.
Yeah, just dauber left, dauber right.
Left. That was it. Dauber left.
Yeah.
No daubers anymore, man. It's all virtual now.
Oh.
It's all on screen, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
part of that Wizzo conversation yesterday was explaining what it is you do in the back of an F-15.
Drink coffee.
And
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, he's got
Throw checklist at the front seat.
His ground mapping, the targeter, and she's.
Yeah. I got one of those expandable batons that I can whack him in the head with.
Yeah.
You know, when I say turn left and he turns right, carry other left, asshole.
Yeah,
That's too funny.
perfect. Tap tap.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Good.
Francis, let's get to you. So where do you want to start, man? Let's start with the physical piece of it. I think that'll be the easier
As long
discussion
as
to
we have a
launch
disclaimer
into.
that no one cares about
Yeah.
how fat I was. And
No, but dude, so like what, in the last 6 months, you've lost 25 pounds?
30, yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I know where it went.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good transformation, right?
Yeah.
But it hasn't come without a lot of sacrifice. It hasn't come without a lot of, dude, I remember when you started
It was not good.
and you were like, dude, fuck, like everything hurt.
It
like,
goes
you
all
didn't
back
want-
to
you're just
one
like-
day in the desert with Roscoe and a very large tire.
Yeah.
And him
Well-
standing over the top of me and going, "You're such a waste of good air."
Let's rewind a little bit. And
to the
Cass and I were over here one Saturday, Sunday morning. We did a podcast, and I forget how it even came up, but I said something about a Spartan race.
Yeah.
And maybe I was going to sign up for it or something. I don't remember. But Alicia says, "Oh, you guys should totally do it together." And Cass is like, "All right, fine,
Great.
I'll do it." I just got called out by my wife, and
Yeah.
I got to look macho. So
Yeah.
fine, I'll do a fucking
Walk it
Spartan
off.
race.
That's right.
And then I think together the conversation.
30 seconds later, Francis.
That's exactly what.
That's about exactly what happened.
Francis to do.
Francis would be great for
And
this.
so I think Cass texted you right there on the spot, and you're like, "Cool, I'm in. What are we doing?"
This is how bad it is you got the two of you just needed me to feel better about yourselves.
Yeah, well, that
that's
might
how
be
it-
true,
how
but-
it rolled this way down.
Now everybody needs a measuring stick, I guess, of some sort. But
that
so that was what? That was middle of June ish.
May.
no.
Nah,
Well,
because I took off right after that. I took off and went to Norway for
Yeah, but it
almost
was
3 weeks.
so it might have been June. But the precipice of that was
the beta group.
yeah, it was doing the beta group.
Oh yeah,
So,
okay.
and
That's why
yeah,
you were in our cross check.
We'll tag this the whole way through this conversation is just the checking in with what you value, the checking in with what your goals are. And if I'd have known writing down my struggle with physical fitness would have resulted in me in the desert with Roscoe with a very large tire, I would have erased it and written something down like,
I like crayons.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
I really dig the 64
Yeah.
pack with the sharpener.
I like
but,
trips
yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually where that came out of, right?
Yeah. Because we were like, all right, we're going to sign
Okay.
up for a Spartan race. You got to get ready for it.
Yeah, let's put it
Is
on
that-
paper. And
That must be where we got the idea
I
to
think it
invite
is.
him along.
It was. Yeah. It was totally from
Yeah.
the beta group.
That makes sense. So then I bail and go to Norway, but we had talked about, hey, let's all get together and see where we're at as a baseline.
Yep.
Right. Let's all just go out there and we'll create some sort of measuring stick and we'll see where we're at as a baseline.
Low bar out in the
So
middle.
when I get back from Norway, it was on or about July 14th.
Yeah, it was middle of July.
Middle of July. And we met up out there at 6 a.m. Yeah. And I had laid out an obstacle course. The obstacle course was about 2.3 miles. It was a loop.
That was like 9 miles. It was like 9.5.
Yeah, it was like 2.
Or 2.2.
2.3, yeah.
Settle on 6.9. Move forward.
I had, I think 8 obstacles. So it was going to be 8 out, 8 back.
Yep.
And we were going to do it twice for a total of about 4.5 miles and about, what is that? Math in public, 30-ish obstacles. Right.
Yeah.
And,
did not go that way.
You tell us. Yeah.
Because the Spartan that we signed up for was a 10K Spartan with 30 obstacles.
That's right.
So, yeah. Over to you, Francis. How did that first day go?
Man, that shit was easy. Like, I mean, I puked twice, right? I don't know. So we start running out in the desert, and
we didn't start running in the desert.
We started
by jumping in the pool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and Princess over here has to remove his shoes because
that's right. My fucking feet and shoes. Well, Hoka's wet, man.
Hoka's wet.
That's right. I'm not running in wet socks.
Well, you and I show up in just normal garb. Cass has his compression socks on and a heart rate monitor. And a tutu.
Look the part.
Yeah. So going out into the desert, and the part of it is just, man, I thought I was in better shape than that.
Yeah.
Right. And we get into some of our discussions where it's like you're just going on along. You have no challenge. You have no barometer for how you're doing. Why are you working out? Well, because I need to work out 3 times a week. And but you're not doing.
But what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you have no self-awareness of what line you're trying to meet.
But we all fall into that trap, though. We all fall into that trap occasionally of just kind of phoning it in. And I've been there since that last workout that you and I did, and at the end of August, 1st of September, I've just been kind of phoning it in, man.
Right.
You know,
but if you're aware of that, that's fine.
am.
But if you're not, this is a bat to the face, right? And that's what that day was for me. Is like, dude, I'm gonna go out here, and I definitely thought I was gonna beat Cass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you should have.
Everybody did. Except for he called me the night before and he goes, "Hey dude, I just want to let you know that I've been kind of in a lull lately and the last time I ran 6 miles, my 6 mile pace was like a 6 flat."
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Half slow.
We need an expectation management check here, bro.
Well, that'll rear its nugget at the end of this practice session, right? Was when I remember the last thing was pick up the super heavy rock and just walk.
Toted about 200 yards or so.
To the trash pile. And you guys are there waiting on me, and I put it down like 7 times. Breathe it out, put it down 7 times. I finally get it there, and now we're supposed to run to the finish. And Cass is like, man, he's not even breathing hard, nor is he sweating. It's
I'm gonna go stretch my legs a little bit.
And he's like, I got to stretch. That's what he says.
Yeah,
I got to stretch my legs.
Boom,
and he is
like a gazelle.
Like a road runner, dude. Yeah, dude. So that day was the eye opener.
Yeah,
the welcome to where you are, where we've gone. We've already said in public that we're going to do a Spartan together. So
yeah, he kind of said "fuck" in front of mom, so you can't take it back now.
Which leads to something that you guys have touched on before in the past: is if you want to do something hard, tell somebody.
Tell everybody,
put it on Facebook,
because that's how they hold you accountable.
That's right.
Indirect and direct.
I will tell you with 100% confidence that if you hadn't have told anybody that we were going to do that, I'd have quit that day and gone home and gotten a dozen donuts and crawled into bed. So, but that one was an eye opener, and unbeknownst to you guys, I have my wife is awesome. She's badass, but I get home from that and she already knew, right? She was like, she knew when I was going to get home that I was going to get my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
And she was ready, and she's, and I was obviously very deflated, right? We talked about that. And she goes, "All right, here we go."
Hey, let me ask you this. Were you, why were you deflated? Was it you were ashamed of where you were physically, like you had let yourself go this far? Were you comparing yourself to either of our performances? What was it that
it was?
Were you further down? Were you in a worse spot than you thought you were?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that what it was?
You can't see it from where.
like you thought you were doing pretty good, and then you're like, oh shit.
I hadn't felt that gassed. I can't remember the last time I felt that gassed. And the second piece is when you're not like, and you just said something about it. When you're not aware, and suddenly awareness comes.
Yeah, it kind of kicks you in the
illuminating.
face.
Big eyeballs going.
Well, there's a good point to be had in there, and it's the comparison piece, right? And I've said before, comparison is the thief of joy. And if I'm comparing my performance to his or yours, then I'm going to feel a little let down over that, because I'm not going to perform at those levels, regardless. Depending on what it is. We just kind of laughing in the pregame about the writing of the books, and you were, you made some comments, but that's real though, man. I mean, if you're sitting here comparing yourself to your Facebook friends and shit, going, well, fuck. I mean, he went on a trip with his wife. I mean,
and what we've talked about too is comparison often leads to shame, right? Because you start to compare yourself to other people, and you think that you're supposed to be at that same bar or at that same level. When the reality is, we all have unique talents or gifts, or we're all on different paths, right? And the competition needs to be between you and you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the measuring stick.
Well,
Like,
that's
where am I now, and where do I want to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now?
You know that, and I knew that based on the walk of, I mean, not to you guys to get big heads or anything, but this podcast and where we started and talking about this stuff, it was a strong education in life truths, like you just said.
Yeah.
What about when you know that and you're still not aware, right? When you have the answers, they're right in front of you. You've walked through them in other scenarios, and now you're in this scenario, and you get
that happens,
and you have zero awareness.
That happens every day.
Yeah,
I know several people who are exactly like, they know the answers to the test.
Yeah,
you just refuse to apply it.
Yeah, it's a blind spot. That's basically
Well, what it comes down to though is it comes down to self-discipline and choices.
It does.
Everything comes down to choices.
Yeah.
And back to the comparison thing, I think there is some motivation to be gleaned in there. If you're aware of it.
There's some wiggle room in the notch there. Yeah.
If there is, there's a gray area in there where it's not shameful.
It's motivating.
But you can use that and go, hey man, I can level up a little bit here.
Yeah.
And I can start watching his shoes a little bit, and yeah.
You asked what was it about that day, and it is, we talk about fighter pilot dysfunction and why we are the way we are, how great it is in some aspects of life, and how bad
it can be.
Lessons are to unlearn and start to be a normal person. But it was fighter pilot rule number 942: don't be the limb fact.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't handle going in that state to PIR and do Spartan and have you two have to carry me, or wait for me, or walk for me, and that's why we're sitting here right now. That is it. It is that simple. I would love to tell you I've got discipline and I'm awesome and all these great things. And I read the book. I did read a bunch of books, but don't be the limb factor. Don't be late. Don't be dumb. Don't use the old Viper standard game plan when the new one just got printed last week and CAS kept it in his safe. Right?
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
By the way, I just had to explain to Katie that it's lim fac, as in limiting factor. She said she thought for all these years she's been saying limp fac.
Even better.
Which is very apropos.
Could apply in some cases.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a lengthy conversation in the car.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So not to spoil the ending, but what you were just talking about right there, that's the way I felt on race day. Because consciously, subconsciously, irregardless, I had let it happen, and I was the limb fac that day. I see
it differently.
I was in poorer shape. The one thing that I had though was I had experience.
Yep.
That was it. But physically, I wasn't there.
Right.
You had far surpassed where I was physically, as far as just conditioning wise. But I had some experience and there's that old saying. I love this, man. It's like, you are not going to rise to the occasion. You're going to execute at your level of training.
Right.
And that was true on race day.
Right. I think as the three of us showed up on Team Old Balls,
yes,
at that race, I think everybody had their part though and your experience was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But all three of our personalities are so different that it's like together we're like an Autobot, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Individually, it's like, dude, shut up. And I'm dragging my knuckles around and bumping into stuff and falling off of the
Falling off of one of ours.
No. We're gonna talk about the sound my body made when it hit the ground.
We're gonna get down to the fine details.
But I'm just saying that your experience and in the person you are made that fun. And his Cass's positivity, right? Usually Cass is like, good job, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, dude, shut your face.
That's because Cass wasn't tired the whole time.
He wasn't, dude. Well, I'm
just over there biting his fingernails going,
when I went into the portal at Cass did like 90 burpees or something just to like feel good about himself. But I do think that, and let's face it, you were also, your knee made an interesting noise somewhere.
Yeah, about the 4 mile part. 4 mile point, your knee was like, hey, remember me?
Because I only care about me. But Cass turned around because he's so far ahead of both of us and went, oh no.
Like, that hurt.
Yeah, and bad. For you, for the words ouch to come
out of your mouth,
Alabama caveman mouth, for you to acknowledge pain, I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah. I remember, I think we had just come down. I think we had just done the giant concrete ball thingy, and we were going towards the sandbag thing, and I was running beside you, and I said, dude, I can hear my knee crunching. I can hear it grinding as we're jogging.
Parts of each one of us are going to make it to the finish line, but all of each one of us are probably not.
Yeah.
So choose something hard, put it in front of you.
Do hard things.
Yeah, but you also, I think one thing that's important to point out is you built a good
plan.
Not just a good plan, but you built a good structure, a good support structure around you through this process. Because
was good.
It wasn't just me and Roscoe, checking in with you doing the workouts in the desert at his house with him, you and I going to Orange Theory together, but you had Sherry, you had Susie, you had Ryan, you had all these people that you pulled into your sphere that were supporting and helping you figure this thing out along the way, right? Yeah. It was still up to you to do the work. It was still up to you to put in the effort and the discipline.
That is support. It's also accountability.
It is.
To come out to the desert again, Roscoe would be like, hey, when we doing that again? And I was like, yeah, never. I am never coming back to your house. And actually...
Oh, that's a lie. 2 weeks later...
Susie and I would cheat and not tell you guys and go back.
You told me that a couple times, yeah. He caught him one time, that's right.
Roscoe was going to shoot me in his front yard because, I swam
this motherfucker in front of my house.
He parked out in front of my house in the street.
But that accountability piece of looking at Roscoe and going, I can't do it is a big deal. And the one that you missed was even worse than the first one.
Yeah.
We put weighted vests on and just picked up 30-pound dumbbells. Yours was 30, mine was 20.
No. Oh, you're talking about that second workout we did?
It's just a walk.
Yeah,
we're just gonna walk.
He had the 20-pound weighted vest. I put my backpack on.
Yeah.
It has a 40-pound sandbag in it. I had 12-pound dumbbells. You had 10-pound dumbbells.
Dude.
Yeah.
And he goes,
just walk.
We actually did a 3-mile run and did a WOD, and then we're just going to go for a walk to cool down. But the walk is in a culvert. It's in one of those drainage ditches.
Yeah.
So we walk about a half a mile with this stuff on. And things are burning. It hurt.
Your knees are buckling.
It hurt. And I'm breathing like I'm running a marathon, right? And we get just to this nondescript point in the desert, and Roscoe stops and turns around and looked at me, and I'm like, and now I've seen that look, so I'm like, oh. He's like, all right, we are going to walk up the edge of this culvert. It's a culvert, right?
That's big drainage ditch, whatever. Yeah,
probably
it's maybe
2 feet different in elevation. Maybe.
It's more than that. It's probably, I mean, at a maybe a 30-degree incline, it's probably 20 feet.
Okay.
Well, it's probably a 10-yard walk at a 30-degree incline. So maybe 30
So he's
feet
like,
tall.
all we're going to do is walk up, turn around, and walk back down, walk up the other side, turn around, walk back
loose
down.
sand in the bottom.
And that's one. And we're going to do 20. I'm like, thank God, because the rest of this is hard. That's going to be easy.
Yeah.
So we start doing it. And it makes me wonder what kind of stuff is in his mind. Like,
he's a little sadistic. Yeah.
It was not good, dude. And what I get about 7 into him, I get 7 in. He's
3.
Okay, I did 1.5. And I
dilation.
at the bottom, I have to start putting my dumbbells on the ground. And I may have dropped to my knees. I don't know.
Had you started training with a weighted vest before that?
No.
Okay.
But just
so
that
matters.
wearing 20 pounds is a different.
It is.
It makes anything.
Yeah.
You can stand still in a 20-pound weighted vest and your life is horrible.
Shoulders hurt, back
Well,
hurts.
right. And think of the fact now that you've lost 30 pounds,
Yeah.
like how much better does your body feel just because of that,
Yep.
right? When you're not carrying around that extra weight.
When you look at the way things went, what did I do after that? I went home and ordered a 20-pound weighted vest. What did I do after Roscoe laughed at me puking in the desert? I went home and made up ways to do
Fill
this
a
stuff.
bucket full of
I
rocks.
filled a bucket full of 60 pounds worth of concrete. And I just walk around with it,
Yeah.
right? So every time he would introduce something that you didn't know how that would affect you physically when you're under stress,
Yeah.
I'd go home and figure out a way to simulate feeling horrible, right? And that's a win.
So I'm so glad you said that, and you might be going down this road here too, Roscoe. But we've talked about the fact that, dude, it's gonna suck. It's not going to be fun. It doesn't.
Yeah, but those are words.
It doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
But
till you get punched in the face.
Yeah, but on the backside of it, like all the benefits that go along with that effort, that work, right? Like it hurts.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I remember that first month that when you first started, you were miserable, and you're just, and I could see the fuck this in your face, right? Like, this is stupid, and you're not seeing
what did we decide like tag word was?
See results at 30
Well,
days.
that's what I was going to say. In that first 4 to 6 weeks, you're not seeing any of the benefits, right? It just hurts.
Inertia
and sucks, right? Yeah. But you stayed with it, and then you started, and then all of a sudden, dude, you've lost 5 pounds, and your knees don't hurt as much, your shoulders don't hurt as much. You're getting you can do burpees, and then
you can do,
and then you've lost 10 pounds, and now at the end of a WOD, you're doing 30 burpees like nobody's business.
That was his challenge to me, because if you can't do 30 burpees, then you need to check your compass right now and get yourself to a place where you. Not all these elaborate workouts, not gym required, not anything. Can you do 30
goals
unbroken?
No, goals?
I can't.
Well, yeah.
But back to the support structure of it. So I got you two turds, which whatever. But I have Susie, who walking through the door day one went, all right, here we go. And the look in my eyes when I left, it was not, all right, here we go.
Yeah, Susie, his wife, who runs half marathons.
Yeah, she's badass. But then there's Sherry at the Combat Fitness Center, who just loves beating the crap out of me, right?
Yeah.
We all
do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, we all do.
Well, she changed our workouts to...
You have a punchable face.
I do.
I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah. Especially when I smile. Yeah. But Sherry modifies our workouts to do just grip strength stuff.
Yeah. Get you ready for the Spartan stuff.
Hanging from your own body weight is interesting. And then you introduced me to OTF, right? So we're doing Orange Theory up in Surprise, and Ryan Byrne, who's been on the podcast before. And I hear you two talking about nutrition, and man, that adage, what you can't
outwork
a bad diet.
Yeah,
right?
You can't outwork a bad diet.
That's it, right? So now I talk to him. He gives me a nutrition plan that is zero fun. But it's part of this, right? It's almost this. Okay, I'm going to make this into an experiment just to see what happens.
Yeah, does it work?
Yeah,
will it work?
Are these people full of shit?
Yeah,
or can an idiot from the great state of South Carolina do this? And to be honest, it wasn't a no. It wasn't a yes. It was I don't know how this is going to work out, especially after the day in the desert, because that one was So Ryan gets me on my calorie count. We're doing macros. We're doing all this stuff. And food has now stopped being fun. It's been a means to an end, which doesn't sound like a lot of fun. And anybody who hears that, who loves food, would be like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. But I think that was where things caught, was figuring out how to eat to make me feel better when Roscoe's beating me in the middle of the desert, right? So, and that's where, like you said, the stuff just started falling off.
It starts to snowball.
And I come home with my list from Ryan. I hand it to Susie. She cooks all of this stuff so that my excuse cannot be, well, it takes me a half an hour to make this meal for lunch. Who cooks a half an hour meal for lunch? Nobody. But when you open the door and it's all right there in your face, then you're eating. And what is it? It's
Well, you
chicken,
got no excuse. Yeah, it's a lot of chicken, man. It's protein,
eggs,
chicken, eggs, and protein shakes.
I bet your house smells great.
Oh, and broccoli.
Oh.
Dude, it smells like a methane plant.
Fiber and protein. Fights on.
So
hold up. I want to go back.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that second day in the desert. Because it sucked. I mean, it was equally shitty for me.
Right.
But you made a comment when we got back to my house. We jumped in the pool and we're cooling down a little bit. And we just sat there for like an hour just bullshitting and kind of
solving stuff.
Yeah, solving the world's problems. And Francis made a comment and he says, Roscoe, you have this switch in your brain where you're able to hit that red line and push through it just a little bit.
Yep.
And I don't have that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to check with you. I bet you have it now.
I do.
I think you have it now.
So, but that takes
I
training.
wouldn't have noticed that unless someone around me, because Sherry said it. She
Yeah.
goes, "You're moving the line," and that
Exactly.
became the mantra: is what are we doing today? Are we doing Metcon? Are we doing strength? What are we doing? And she'll look at me and go, "We're moving the line," and I'm like, "Shit, I just want to go home now because I don't want."
Because you know it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt,
Yeah.
and an inch beyond the line.
Yeah.
Is tears and snot and things running out of orifices in your body that you can't
But
control.
that takes training. Like the day that we went to the track over there.
It does.
And,
but
you
it also
know,
takes mental. You got to know that you're not going
That's
to
the
die.
mental
bingo.
strength.
And that's where, so we've been talking a lot about the physical up to this point, and the mental side of the thing.
Yeah.
Don't drop the fucking weights, dude.
Yeah. Don't put it down.
Don't drop the weights.
Yeah.
That's mental, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it burns. It sucks, you know. And when I was coaching football, this was a conversation I used to have with the kids. Is it's a mental game that's going to take us to 9-0 and that big ass trophy.
Yeah.
Because it's raining on the other side of the ball too. They had to get up early this morning and drive across town too. The wind is blowing. They're cold. They're not properly hydrated. So what's our excuse?
Yeah.
Right? Get out there and fucking execute.
Right.
And I mean, if you can convince 13-year-olds to do that, then you know, it's good. But it's no different than convincing you that you're capable of doing more. You're capable of pushing that line out just a little bit.
The power of one more.
On
On the Roscoe White reading list, right, was the first one. And I hate both of you for this, but you got Susie turned onto it. So she comes home and buys every book title that comes out of one of you two's. Books at home.
God damn you.
In 9 lifetimes, I can't read, you know, and none of them have pictures.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
Not colored,
that was the first one that I,
that's a good one.
That's a good one. And it's the power of one more, dude. It's one more step. But to your point earlier, you explaining that move the line to someone who's never been physically in the point to move the line means zero. Because it's going to be something they remember you saying after they get to that point and they do move the line, or they feel like they're going to die. And then they come back and go, that's the feel that goes along with that concept.
So let me throw this at you, right? Where I'm sitting right now, because I've been kind of phoning it in for about 3 months. I know where that line is.
Yep.
And I know what mentally and physically and emotionally I'm capable of, and I'm not close.
Yeah.
That's a shitty feeling.
Well, you're not close to the line that you knew before.
So when you start to back off, when you will, eventually you're gonna hit a dip.
Dude, I'm there right now.
But when you start to back off a little bit, you're gonna know, and it's gonna feel like shit. And you're gonna every night you're gonna go flick the lights off to go to bed, and you're going like, fuck.
Yeah, wasted opportunity.
I didn't move the ball today.
Yeah, and that's actually where I am now. CAS. I went and watched CAS and my wife run a half marathon in Tucson this weekend. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, Alicia and I are on the sidelines. You know, she doesn't know it, but I had a donut and we're drinking our Starbucks and it's cold, but they're out there running and it's like,
you probably could have done it.
What am I probably could have done it. It probably would have hurt really bad, but it's choices. It's deciding to do something. It's someone calling you and going, hey bro, we're going to do a Spartan together. And what did I say? Did I cannonball into it like right then and go, yay? No, I went and ghosted you for about 3 hours and went, can I do that? Versus just do it, right? So, same thing is, hey man, we're running a half marathon tomorrow. Okay, just go.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're putting things on the calendar, man.
We are, dude, and I'm a little scared. But
so my mic was muted for I don't know how long.
We weren't going to tell you that.
We've been hearing you.
Well, I know, but the red mute button was on. Anyways, whatever. I didn't say anything.
Move
really
the line
important.
is the big part of that.
Yeah.
Do you want to check it?
No. It's whatever.
And probably a good point to say that I'm not some Adonis right now, right? I'm just 30 pounds lighter.
But still
ugly.
But that's not the point.
Still bad.
No,
attitude.
that's not the point, dude.
Man.
No,
we're
it
all
doesn't
we're
matter.
not all gonna walk around with fucking Ryan 12-pack abs.
Yeah.
Well, you said something in a podcast that was what's your why or something like that.
Yeah.
What is your why?
Yeah.
What, and my why, I'm holding on to it. I'm not saying it because it's a very personal.
That's cool.
That's
why,
fine. Right.
But you know it. You've identified it.
It's etched in my brain.
Good.
And if you don't have one, you're gonna. I mean,
you got to have a purpose.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, accountability with all those people. You guys laughing at me when I quit. Blah blah blah. And that structure, which isn't to say you can't do it without it, but for me, I guess I kind of needed that. You know, I needed some critical stuff I'll never forget in the Spartan when you look down at. Are we to the point where I fall off the monkey bar?
Let's hang on a minute.
Okay, I know you're going to lay that one out, but I remember you looking at me sometime in the race and going, "Are you hurt or are you injured?"
Yes, I remember that.
And I've known with Roscoe that you better think before you answer.
We were jogging up the hill to the bucket carry, and you were grunting and groaning over there, crying about your fucking funny bone hurting. And I just point blank, dude, are you hurt or are you injured? Because if you're injured, we'll call the meat wagon.
Yeah.
If you're hurt, shut the fuck up.
We just everybody hurts. Yeah.
My knees were raw and on fire from that fucking barbed wire crawl. And they hurt
that
all
skin
day.
on your knees, dude. It'll be fine with that. Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing that's important to stress is, you know, as you started down this road, dude, you set intermediate goals, right? And it was hard at first, but you started to get wins here and there. And I'm sure that was motivating, right? And that goes back to what we've talked about around goal planning, which is you've got to set, you can have a big overarching thing at the end that you're trying to get to, half marathon, Spartan race, but there's got to be intermediate goals along the way where you can buy some wins, because if you don't, that ability to stay motivated and to continue down that path is going to be really difficult, right? But if you start to see gains and you start to win, and you know, you start to learn some things along that, like, oh dude, I can do one more. Oh, I can push that line. I, you know, my body's more capable than I thought it was. You know, I can push myself. I can build that mental toughness and that fortitude to do hard things. Like that, just, it starts to snowball, right? And then you really start to gather some momentum. And then at some point it becomes habitual, right? This is what I do now.
Well, it's almost like you're gambling. It's like, I'm winning. How far? What's the next?
How far can you go?
Yeah. How far can I push?
And then your knee explodes on a 4-mile run, and you go, well, I can go that far. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did a workout and you sent it to us. It was a rounds for time.
Yeah, that was trying to model the pain that I felt with you.
Okay.
Kind of workout.
But here's a recommendation to go along to your point, right? Is have something that is measurable and is a baseline.
Yeah.
Right. Go out and execute it. I have a few that I do on my back porch, and then I'll kind of debrief it and go, you know what? I can do that faster because my transitions.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there for 5 seconds and
going, this sucks. Yeah. Hands on your knees.
I can get down and do 1 or 2 reps and still pant and catch my breath. You know, so if you do something like what you did, it's 4 or 5 exercises, do 5 rounds for time, write that time down, and
come
back 3 or 4 weeks later, go do it again and measure and see. And and you might be able to, like when you did that workout over at the track, you know, you get done with the 1/4 mile lap and you come back to the place where you're going to do burpees, squats, push-ups, and sit-ups. you stand there for 30 seconds and catch your breath because that quarter-mile run with a vest sucks?
Yeah.
Or do you just jump right into burpees and knock out a few?
And I will say, if you jump
Yeah.
right into it, you forget. It's the standing and
Yeah.
thinking that hurts you.
I think you're already breathing hard. And
Susie told me this. She's like, just count to 3 and go.
Yeah.
And not 1.
Oh, that's like Mel Robbins in the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2, 3, go.
If you haven't,
and take the emotion out of it. It is
Yeah,
simple. It's
just
simple.
don't think about it,
I mean,
just
even
go.
I can count. Well, on good days, I can count it.
shoes off.
Yeah.
If you haven't read Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule, that's a really good one because that's exactly what she talks about. She goes, when you're facing something like that, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
If you want to call the girl and you're nervous, if you want to jump off the cliff into the waterfall in Hawaii,
do it.
If you want to go do the burpees, whatever it is, it's daunting, it's scary, you're nervous, there's fear involved.
Yep.
But courage is the antidote. And sometimes you just got to say, fuck it.
Yeah.
And that's a good way. Just count down and
you learn that in the Spartan, right? When you were hurting, it's just like, okay.
What are you going to do?
I'd have been on the meat wagon. If my foot was pointing left instead of right when it should be pointing right, dude, I'd have been like, all right, you dudes finish without me.
But
he's over there dragging that foot around. I'm like,
you can run with a broken elbow.
Dude, it was making like noise, like crackle noises. I thought I was going to puke. It was interesting. But yeah, just that mindset of if you drop to do 30 burpees, man, by the time your conscious mind catches up with starting that exercise, you've already done 6.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, go to your happy place.
Right? Yeah.
But
there's no happy place doing burpees.
No.
There
isn't. But
10 burpees is no big deal. You can hold your breath through that.
Yeah. Well,
20 burpees is like, that hurts, but I can see the finish line.
Yeah.
30 burpees is, and the funny thing is, it only takes like, what, a minute and a half?
Yeah, it does take that.
It's really quick.
Which is part of the mental.
But
Like
that's part of the mental.
And did you listen to or read the Spartan Way by Joe DeCina?
I'm about 3/4 of the way through it.
Yeah,
right
so he talks about starting his day with 30 burpees because it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But it also gets your blood flowing, get a little bit of sweat on,
But it's a win, right?
Yeah,
it's a, what have you done today? Well, I've been awake for half an hour and I've accomplished 30 burpees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, most of the world will be like, who gives a shit about 30 burpees, bro?
Well,
it's
that's that
individualistic, though.
Yeah. That's that famous McCraven speech.
Yeah, it's the make your bed
speech. It's start your day with a win.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Just one little small act of discipline.
Yeah.
Can go a long ways. And I was actually I had this thought when I was coming out to get ready to make my coffee to come over here. I was just thinking about, I wanted to see if we could put together, maybe one day we just kind of get together over a beer or whatever, and let's put together a list of just easy, simple, everyday discipline things.
Concepts.
Like turn out the lights when you leave a room.
Yeah.
Tie your shoes the same way every day. Those little things. Because what happens, man, is, and you've experienced this now, what happens is when you make that shit routine, you notice when you don't do it.
Yeah.
And it drives you fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like if I walk out of my room and I don't flick the lights off, I notice that shit.
Yeah.
And it bothers me all the way to the kitchen and back.
Or someone else doesn't, and you're like,
it's not quite as annoying as I'm my own worst critic.
Right.
I
totally agree because especially on the journey of this podcast, right? You guys have been doing it for what, 2 years now?
Year and a half.
So, man, there are so many very short one-line things that should be put in a mahogany book. My lens is whenever I do something or I learn something, I feel the need to pass it to my children, like in the moment, right? So they get weird texts from me in the middle of the day, and they're like, "Where are you? And what do you blink twice if you're okay?"
Roscoe said, "When the barber goes down, you yank on the line."
But I wish going back, I could have written in something, "Hey, Dad's dead, but here's this cool book of things that, at least for a moment in time, he thought were important."
Oh, it's called Work Hard, Don't Suck by Paul White.
It could be. Disclaimer.
Yeah. Shameless plug for Christmas time.
Long pause.
Actually, this is coming out.
It'll be after Christmas. So
see,
next Christmas.
This is why I don't sell any books. Because I suck at marketing.
I got you a gift for Martin Luther King Jr.
There you go. Valentine's Day gifts for everybody. We'll draw a heart on it.
No, but all of those mindset things, you put them together, that puzzle of these things, they all draw on each other, and it gets you can't see my hands, but it all kind of,
It's a big old knot, man.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
It's a big old knot.
But even a big old knot is something that should be in the mahogany book.
Sure.
Right. It's a mental capture. But,
Well, when we did our wrap up, one thing that jumped out to me is the topics that we come up with. They're not in any particular order.
Nope.
You know,
it's like a well-hit
I mean,
9
sometimes.
iron.
aside from like the first maybe like 4 or 5 episodes, we thought through that order a little bit to set a foundation.
Yeah.
But beyond that, man, I mean, it's just, hey, man, what do you want to? You know, let's dive down this rabbit hole, do a couple of weeks of reading on it, and come execute it. You know, but I think it would be an interesting project to go through and let's unpack this, kind of like what we did in the beta group, and let's have a flow to it. And so, if you had to publish a flow for a brand new listener, you go to episode 1, 3, 4, 5, 30, 45, 21, and you listen to them in this order, and it kind of starts putting all these pieces together. And by the time you get to the end of it, I mean, you know, some of the episodes are dumb and we're just sitting here bullshitting like this one, but
like this one.
Yeah. But, you know, one thing that you may not know this, but I was having a lot of conversations with Sherry on the side.
Yeah. I taught ways to take me to the floor and make me cry.
Well, there was that, but you know, it was a lot of like, she and I would bounce ideas off of each other because one thing that we shared as far as a vision for Francis was, I want you to show up on race day not dreading it.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy
Fight what
and
you
excited.
See. Yeah.
I want you to be prepared.
Not counting noses in EOR going.
Yeah. I want you to be prepared to a level where you're not dreading running the race.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of the side goal that we were talking about.
I kind of got a whiff that you guys were talking because when you and I were in the desert, you wouldn't tell me what was around. Like, it was
that was her thing. She said you like surprises,
so she stopped.
That's why I came out with my pants
normally,
off.
She stopped sending me the wads. Usually the night before, she'll send me hey man, this is what we're doing, and that stopped abruptly.
Yeah.
So hey, climb the rope. Well, what am I doing after I climb the rope? She's like, I don't know, and she knew, but it was just a quantum shift in the way we did business.
Well, that was when you showed up to my house in August. What are we doing, Roscoe? Let's just go for a jog.
Yeah.
It
was a walk.
We
were gonna go for a walk, is what you said. And then when he's putting the vest on, and put this on.
This in the very beginning, when you showed up and we're in my driveway stretching and hydrating, you said, "What are we doing?" I said, "We're just go for a jog." But it was a jog on a single track cow trail through a wash that did this for 3.5 miles.
Yeah,
and I was fucking smoked.
Yeah.
Remember that? I was smoked at the end of that. Was a hard run.
And then we did a walk.
We talked a lot about heart rate management there on that one, and got you brought that into your cross check a little bit.
Well, he would ask me what my heart rate is, and I was like 214. He's like, "Oh no,
you're dying."
Like, stay right there. Call 911.
Did you get struck by lightning? Good shit.
Yeah.
Race day.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
What did you think? We pull in, we jump out of the car. Like, I wanted to sit there and finish my coffee, but you two chuckleheads wanted to go inside real quick.
Yeah.
Opposite on the tail end, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The text from, I'll have to pull it up, so to speak.
Where are you?
No, it was Francis's. Would you get deteriorating quickly?
Yeah.
Something like
he's
that.
Not
he's fading.
Yeah, he's fading fast. We gotta go.
Urgent. But yeah, walking up to the venue. What were you thinking?
Dude, somehow I got in that place where I was excited.
Good.
And this is
awesome.
This is my excited face.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, this is my happy face.
Yeah.
There's still a little
my sad face.
There's still a little of that fear of the unknown.
There was, but it was like.
But you felt prepared.
I was so sick of thinking about it. And just going, I wonder what is it going to be cold? Am I going to be,
Yeah.
It's like, here we go. Which made that guy's speech while we were in the stall.
Oh, fuck.
That guy talked for 15 minutes. And I'm like, I'm just going to take off, dude.
Part of the experience.
Oh, it was a lot. And Sherry had done one of these before. So she goes, there's going to be this really motivational speech. And I'm just looking at this guy going, dude, stop talking. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
fucking go.
LFG. But, yeah, dude. And to do one of those, I don't know if the first one you've done like 3 or 4, 2. I don't know if the first one you did by yourself.
No, I had a team.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't imagine doing it by myself. I could.
I think that'd be an interesting challenge, though.
I dug that we were, and all the stuff we talked about, and the journey, and how we got ready for it, and how we failed and succeeded, and all this stuff. That was just kind of the bow and the cherry on top.
The interesting thing, I think, would, if you did one of these by yourself, first of all, pick a distance that's going to really challenge you.
Yeah.
Okay? And when you
30K,
it was the 20K. That's the next one.
Whatever.
That's the only one that I have to get the trifecta. If you don't have a group, then Stan starts to get in there.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about,
it's cold.
You start thinking about, oh, fuck this obstacle. Nobody else see if I just run past this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you got a group, that's your accountability. And fuck, Cass just got up the rope. God damn it.
Yeah.
But if you're by yourself, I think that would be an interesting mental challenge
to not do that.
To not quit, to not just start walking or bypass an obstacle or give up after the first try or something like that. I think that would, I might do that at some point in the future just for the mental challenge
to see where I can take my mind.
See where's the breaking point, man. After 20 obstacles in 6 miles, fucking smoke, bro.
Yeah.
And at some point in there, going up and down those damn hills, injuries notwithstanding, but going up and down those hills
creep in.
It sucked. And Stan's going to get in there and start talking to you about, hey man, just throttle back. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's a water station over the hill.
You're 53. You're okay.
Go sit down in the shitter for like 10 minutes. People think you're taking a dump.
Actually, I tried that with you too. And then Cass is there when I came out.
In the stall. Come on, Francis. I just took my goo packet. Damn it. I'm ready to run.
Let's go.
Goo packing 30 burpees just cause.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then who'd be there to laugh at me when I fell off the monkey bars twice?
Yeah. The guy proctoring the
whoever this he called it a safety monitor, and this came up to me and went,
dude.
So good.
Couple of half-mile jog or so to the first obstacle. Couple of sawhorses to get over.
Barbed wire.
Barbed wire. That sucked. I didn't like the barbed wire.
I did well at the barbed wire. I did the roll.
You guys were both like standing at the end going, come on, Roscoe, Jesus. And I'm over there huffing and puffing trying to get through it.
The proctor guy's like, nobody's doing the roll technique. I'm like, that sounds a lot better than this. So I go 92 and I just start rolling. And it's awesome. I don't touch the barbed wire. I start rolling and I get to the end.
And then you can't fucking stand up straight.
But we pop up and we're going to start running. And my eyeballs are downrange and I'm intending to run that direction. But I go 90 left right into the guy that's sitting there. And he's like
the fucking drunk doing the test.
It was literally like that. And it took a couple minutes for me to.
Yeah, it took us full 30 seconds basically. Not to stop tumbling.
Francis.
So it was okay that you were a little bit behind us at that point because Francis wasn't going anywhere for a minute or two.
Recage your gyro.
He would have been in a flat spin up to sea.
Damn it, Francis.
In an Acatio.
G-locked out in the middle of the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think it was monkey bars right after that.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't. It was pull the heavy thing.
Pull the sandbag thingy up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was monkey bars.
And then monkey bars.
Monkey bars.
Yeah.
How'd those gloves work out,
dude? Francis, take your gloves off for the monkey bars. Roscoe, shut up.
No, I paid $40 for these gloves.
Awesome
they say
gloves.
Spartan on them.
Yeah, they got the cool logo. And I was on that monkey bar for about a half a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. When I lived in Alaska, there was a rule when somebody slipped on the ice. First, you verified their health. Are you okay? Yeah, and then you're cleared to laugh. And I remember because I'm like, you were way on the other side.
I was on the other side.
I was on the podium right next to Francis, and he grabbed the first rung and goes to swing out to the second one, and he just goes. Boom.
I know. I heard it.
I had a hand on the thing because I'm like focusing on what I got to do, and I hear splat. It was more like thud.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked over here, and Francis just looking at me, staring back up at me like he's dead.
It was like Roscoe.
Dude, are you okay?
And the clouds were parting.
Yeah.
And the sunbeams. I'm like,
I heard it, and I looked over there, and I was like, oh.
So 3. So
awesome.
On that one. On this first monkey bar experience, because just wait, there's another. Some people are hard learners, but So Francis's feet hit first.
Yeah.
Just ever so slightly first. And so gravel gets kicked up all over the guy that's in front of him, and the dude that's running the obstacles like, but I think it kind of sort of broke your fall a little bit. Fast forward to like mile 6 when we did the other monkey bars,
That
and
one,
you
there was
landed flat.
Dude, you were horizontal when you hit
landed
the
flat.
There was the ladies were there.
Yeah,
to
at least
see
the
that
wives
one.
were there to watch that one.
That was good. Like a wrestler
No,
taking
I
the
remember
mat,
you
man.
coming over and going, huh. It's what I love about Roscoe. There's no, are you okay? There's nothing. He's like, dude, stop sucking, man. So I hop
That's
on.
not true.
Dude, my ears are ringing. I go to the, I think because you failed the obstacle, you have to go burp it out.
Yeah.
So I'm in the burpee area, and Roscoe's standing over by the obstacle looking at me like I've got an arm growing out of my forehead. And I'm like, dude, shoot him the bird and continue with my burpees. He waits till I get about 16 or 17 burpees in and comes over and goes, hey, bro, you don't have to burp them out. You can try again.
It's an open meat, man.
I know, but you could have done that on my third burpee and saved me a little bit of heartbreak.
Well, torture's fun.
So I come over, take the gloves off. Then what happened, Roscoe?
Yeah.
Oh, you made it.
Smoked it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So that experience.
So don't wear.
It wasn't skill. It wasn't strength. It was grab a handful of dirt, spit on it. Here you got all the grip you need.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need fancy $40 Spartan gloves to do these kinds of things. And this is a good.
I look so good with those gloves.
This is a good message, though, to anyone that might have made it this far, an hour and 2 minutes into this freaking comedy show. You don't need fancy shit to do any of this stuff, man. And, my kid was, he was looking to, my oldest boy, he was looking to try to start getting in shape and stuff. And he's got his kids and all that. And I'm like, dude, put your kids in a stroller and go for a jog. Yeah, that's a good workout.
Yeah.
Go out with your dog, grab a cinder block, and go walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah,
like it doesn't take anything fancy. You don't need $200 Hoka shoes and fancy $40 Spartan gloves. Just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And build.
All learned in the journey. But.
Yeah. And credit to the wives for being there with We Love Old Balls shirts on, which was fucking awesome. They got more looks and more questions. It was awesome.
They got yelled at a couple times.
They did because they were creeping into the course. Yeah, to watch us fall off monkeys. So it was badass.
So we're transversing from, I think it was from the pull down thingy or the monkey bars thingy. And we have to go kind of we have to scurry up the little hill.
Or the spear.
Across the road. Oh, we did the spear throw. That's right. Yeah.
But that's where I'm okay. But I can't feel the right side of my body, right? And it's a little weird. Yeah. Like, when you funny bone it?
Yeah, and it kind of goes numb.
Feels weird. Yeah, but the whole...
Wow.
Yeah, and Roscoe sees me walking all gimped up, and he's like, are you hurt or you're injured? And that's when that one happened.
That was that transition from the spear throw.
To start going up
and
the
hill.
hill.
And the girls were standing up there heckling us from the hill and shit. And that's when I asked you, because I remember the
poignant moment that no one's stopping this unless you're actually dead.
Yeah.
If you're dead or unconscious, then we'll drag your carcass to the side and move on.
So people can keep going.
Yeah, and the two of us will finish the race. That was, kind of a
suffer in silence, man. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Everything hurts.
Did you die? then let's keep going.
Just keep moving, man. Left foot, right foot. Let's do this. Bucket carry up the hill. That kind of suck balls.
Yeah.
And I was. I think one of the things that I remember stood out to me that sucked the worst was not really the obstacles, but it was up and down those damn hills.
The dirt. And the
loose
ground.
ground.
You had to pay attention to what
very unstable.
You did. You had to pay attention to where
concentration. Steep. I mean, they weren't just like
it was steep in sections for sure.
I remember that kind of sucking a little bit. Yeah. But rope climb, that one sucked. You ended up burping that one out.
I'm bummed about the rope because that's my El Guapo, right? And that's the thing that I tried to practice. I tried to figure out techniques.
What happened?
Reached up to grab the rope the way I had practiced with you. And I can't feel that side of my body, right? And it was weird. And Cass kind of looked at me weird, and he's like, "Dude, you need to try that again." And so I try again, and there's nothing there. There's no pull whatsoever. I'm not worried at that point, but it's fascinating how numb that was. It was like weird. I was like, "Huh, that's interesting, man." And burped it out, and I was frustrated.
Yeah, I could tell you were upset.
That was the thing.
That was the one you wanted.
I could have failed. I could have burped out every obstacle and done that one, and walked away with 2 fingers up, going, "Yeah,
crushed."
But and that's what our sprint will be about is
the rope climb.
I got to figure
out
the rope. And it sounds stupid because you two go up and down in less than 10 seconds, and I'm like, I hate both of you, but whatever, I'll get it.
Mm-hmm. That was the Atlas ball for me.
Oh yeah, the heavy one,
the big heavy 100-pound concrete ball.
You crushed that though.
I found a fucking YouTube video on a different technique. Roll it up your thigh, and I was like, this is super simple, man. Yeah. The first time I did it 2 years ago when I ran a Spartan, I didn't know that technique, and I was super nervous about that because the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm going to reach down and grab this thing,
blow my back,
and my back is going to explode out my rear. And I'm so glad that because it was like when I got done with it, I wasn't even like super excited. I was like, this is okay. That was no big deal.
But that's also a lesson learned for every obstacle is to just go.
Yeah.
Don't
just
stop
try.
and
you just got to don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just execute.
Yeah. But
whatever that looks like.
Rope climb.
You see that?
No,
see that?
I can't see that far.
My spidey senses out the corner of my eye saw something. My computer's at 2%.
Oh.
I forgot to plug the damn thing in.
My gosh.
Yeah, I'm a moron.
No, you're good.
Well,
that was terrible. Yeah, so that one sucked. That box thing with the little half rope on the side.
That was horrible.
That sucked ass.
Thank God. And that's where that's another reason why being a team was good because if not for the two of you and us working as a team, none of us would have gotten over that thing, right? Like that was a team effort.
And that was right after the rope climb.
Yeah.
Right? So Roscoe and I get to the top, and he looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, hey, "You're down there." And he's like, one of the two of us is going to have to reach down and get CAS. And I look at him and I jump off the other side of the fence.
You're like, well, fuck CAS.
So over here shaking my arm going,
choose Nordo. I'm going that way. Sorry, can't hear you, Roscoe, for all the...
And I honestly thought getting to the other side and you still being up there, I'd have 5 minutes to take a breather. And sure as shit, Roscoe's big wing whips you over the top of this thing.
No, that was...
later, you two are standing
my
there.
Big... Vowels mean things. Wing?
Yeah.
That was more CAS's huge muscles than Roscoe's whatever you said.
Well, somehow you guys negotiated that.
I think I was just a brace for CAS to do a giant pull up and get up there.
Yeah, you were something to hold on to so I could get my feet on that knot of the rope and pull myself up far enough to grab that bar in the middle and then pull myself over the top.
I could be your support structure for that one.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't have made it otherwise.
What was the Olympus one?
The go sideways with the chain.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that
was some of the next ones, right? We go up and over the hill and do and end up on that thing.
Yeah.
I think Francis and I had watched the same video.
We did.
On YouTube, there's this.
That was stupid.
This brand, it's OCR Kings, and it's two dudes. They're probably a little bit younger than us. I mean, they're not young men, but they go out there and they just crush like every obstacle, and they show you all the techniques and everything. And I watched these guys do that thing 2 or 3 times. I'm like,
can't be that hard.
That's fucking simple, right? Yeah. Problem is, these guys are like 5'2" and weigh 100 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm 6'3" and I don't weigh 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Easily double that and more. And it did not work. It ended poorly.
But you and I were both surprised. Is the thing?
It was
like
hard.
I hopped on that thing and thought, you know, when you're running up 100 yards from it, you're like, okay, I got this one.
Because they made it look easy.
Yeah, this is not a problem.
That wasn't that particular obstacle for me wasn't strength. It was flexibility. Like if you're flexible and you can get your feet up far enough that you can hold yourself on the wall as you go across the chains, then it's easy. If you're like me and you're not that fucking flexible, and all you can do is dangle your feet and try to not let them touch the ground, you're fucked.
I did watch a video after we got back. I went and looked that one up, and I saw some guys that did just that. They're like, "Fuck the feet, man! Just let the feet dangle." And I'm just going hole to hole. And but they were able to support their body weight right here and kind of move their hands. Like the pegboards, I can't do those.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then it was probably half mile or so.
Big run.
Way out into the parking lot.
Oh, it was more than that. It was
that's where my knee just decided it was done playing for the day. Yeah. That sucked.
That was gnarly.
And it was, I mean, we're jogging, everything's cool. And I actually was telling somebody this the other day. I was like, yeah, that was kind of the point in the race where you kind of collect yourself a little bit. Yeah. You've been up and down these hills. This is flat.
Eyes on the horizon.
Yeah,
You're
man.
Be okay.
Get your heart rate under
the way through.
Just, you can almost smell the finish line. Like, collect yourself, get your thoughts together, finish strong kind of thing. And then when we came out of that jog, right at that last obstacle, I think I just came down hard on my heel. And after after all that pounding,
Yeah.
the things were just loose, overused, overuse injury, and I felt it pop. And
I'm pretty sure everybody around you heard it pop.
Holy crap!
I heard it, but when he goes, dude.
Yeah,
it's the first time I've ever seen you show any sort of acknowledgement of pain. Usually you just run into the wall 50 times and keep going, and eventually the wall falls over.
Yeah, that sucked. But getting up on my tippy toes, either walking or running, I was able to compensate.
But then it smoked your calves.
Then it wasn't my calf; it was my Achilles. I had really bad tendonitis in my Achilles anyway, and it just really aggravated that. Like it swelled up like a golf ball down there. Yeah. So by the end of the race, I needed some ice.
Yeah.
It was bad. But what really scared me though is I knew that goddamn sandbag carry was coming up and down those damn stairs, and I didn't trust that leg
that knee was going to hold up.
Yeah, so I was really nervous. I was going to have to go off to the side and just watch you guys. But
I'm glad I didn't know that was coming.
Oh yeah. That was hard, man.
Well, you do the Atlas ball, and then you do the Z thing, which is easy, and then you climb up this other thing, the multi-rig, which is pretty easy. As long as you don't
those are pretty simple.
Yeah. You can see the finish line, and there's that girl cheerleader there going, yes, you only have a quarter mile left.
But first go over there.
Yeah, it's over, and then it's 90 right, and a box of 60-pound sandbags, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not processing that. And then CAS picks it up and goes, and you go up one flight of stairs up into the stadium.
3 flights of stairs, but
was it?
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 floors.
But it was quick, and it was doable.
Yeah.
And then it looks like you hook back around and just go down those 3 and drop your bag off and go.
Yeah. No.
Oh no. You go into the stadium, down to the racetrack, back up to the midpoint, down to the racetrack, back up to the midpoint, down to the racetrack.
Yeah, it was fucking up and down, man. That was brutal.
I think that's where the light in my eyes was gone.
This was at the 6 mile mark. Yeah. So everything hurts.
Yeah.
Everything's numb.
You're done.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm bleeding from everywhere.
Oh, we totally skipped over the second.
We did Mars experience, dude. We don't need to talk about that one. But that sandbag carry in the stadium was where I started to have some doubts on the way this was going to work.
Yeah.
That's funny because you're so close to the finish.
Right.
And that's the key, right? Is they put it there to where, like, if they'd put that
just
at mile 2, if they'd have put it at mile 2, it would have killed souls and it would have affected people's progress negatively. But now you're like, dude,
I think they should make that the first obstacle, man.
Just grind you to
You're not even warmed up yet. Like everything's still cold and just let's see how much grit do you have.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it came down to was, and the conversation I was having in my mind was as he was down there already catching his breath and
he's already done with it,
having a soda with Alicia.
Yeah.
My whole thing was just don't stop.
Yeah.
Because if I stop, I'm fucked. Yeah. Right. Just left foot, right foot. Just don't stop. Everything burns. Everything hurts.
I'm like
from my shoulder down to my calves or down to my ankles. Everything hurts, but just don't fucking stop.
I learned a lesson when I did stop because I stopped twice.
Ooh.
I stopped once, forgot everything I'd learned about one more, right? Picked it up, moved down to the bottom, back to the midpoint again, and I stop and I drop it, and a girl walks up next to me and drops hers. And I don't see her face because my base is down by my knees, right? I'm looking at the ground, and she pukes all over the stadium.
Whoa.
And like goo and bananas is what it was.
Nice.
It was purple with hunks of banana in it.
Awesome.
Came up pretty easy,
but
I guess.
This chick pukes
and rallies
and picks her bag up, smacks me on the back and goes, good job. Boom. And she's off. And I am sitting there still
putting your vagina back in your shorts.
Yeah. I'm not sure how, because at that point I still had to go to the bottom of the track and then all the way to the very top.
And then down
again. Everything.
And I learned a lot from that chick. Just get rid of it and move on, dude.
Yeah.
And
puke and rally, man.
I kind of chuckled for a second, then the reality came. It wasn't so funny, but don't stop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Inertia.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a really good lesson in there, but I have this visual of you watching this girl in amazement as she just
scorches you,
pounds you into the stadium, and you shrivel up inside, and you're like, oh, Jesus. You know, and that's something.
You had a decision to make.
Yeah, pick it up.
Fetal position and sit in the stadium and wait for us to finish and come rally to find you, or pick the fucking sand back up and finish the race.
The bad part is there are 20,000 seats there that look really comfortable. Just to pop the seat open and sit down and think about it, maybe cry, take a tissue.
Something that nobody really talks about, at least I haven't heard people talk about, but there's something slightly demoralizing about the bravado and the ego getting crushed by watching chicks pass you.
Yeah.
And just like little ninjas over these obstacles, and they fade off into the distance, and you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
You know,
some people in great shape out there.
It is, man, but that goes back to the comparison thing, right? You know, it's, dude, you got to run your race, man. And that's fucking life, right?
That's where you are.
You got to run your race, man.
Goes back to competitions, you and you, man. Don't worry about everybody else.
I'm not going to try to keep up with CAS, because CAS is a freaking gazelle. Yeah. I'm going to run my race.
Yeah.
And if you guys,
this while I run behind,
if you guys go up there, I'll catch you when Francis falls off the monkey bars. But again, he's over there licking his wounds. That's when, just wait for me at the end. I'll be there. But
the fail on that one was not technique. The fail on the second fall off the monkey bars was, dude, you just learned this lesson and you cannot be taught because you put your gloves on.
The gloves.
I think I put them on as we walked up to the house.
I got a great idea. Let's all buy gloves.
Yeah, exactly.
I could do it with gloves on.
There's
Fuck
a
this
Spartan glove maker out there who's like wanting this to never.
It never
Thank
came out.
God it was in the gravel and not on the pavement.
Yeah.
The second one hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were horizontal when you
landed
on that
flat.
one.
And that one was the proctor person or the safety guy who clearly can't make it safe enough for me. The look on his face.
Well, I think because all we heard was, oh.
Yeah. And all the air leaving my body. The first one, you were there looking down, laughing. This time you came over with a different look.
Well, I think the first one we made eye contact and I was like, okay, he's alive. The second one, a little dazed.
He might be dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I drove the truck. We could throw you in the back. So,
yeah, but you did it, man. That's the important part.
Bleeding on everything.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And man, the finish was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Actually, that last wall that was like,
it was tall.
It was
steep,
but it was pointed backwards.
Yeah.
And it just took I remember.
Oh, that's right. We had to go reverse.
I remember getting up to the top of it because it's angled back towards us, right?
Yeah.
And there was a similar obstacle earlier in the race that was kind of
you got to kind of angle. You got to climb and then throw your leg over.
And I remember you and I running up to it, going, "Okay, so what's the technique here?" And like, there's no technique, man. It's just fucking grunt.
Yeah, grunt it out.
Just flex what you can and throw it over the damn wall. And I remember getting to the top of it, man, and like, because you're like leaned back, and my feet are out in front of me. Somehow I have to get them over this wall, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not a gymnast. Look at me. I'm a tall, lanky white kid. I don't understand this. But I remember just going, fuck it, and just kind of leaned into it and
Yeah.
And then the finish was sort of anticlimactic to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that. I remember the puke hitting the ground, and the next thing I remember is we were standing in line at the finish line with one of those weird drinks, the carbonated raspberry things, and I'm like,
that was terrible.
But between those two pieces, there's.
He was fading fast already, Roscoe.
Well, I knew when I was coming down the stadium, you know how you had to go all the way down, crisscross. Mm-hmm. Down should be easy. And I look over and the two of you are standing there looking at me, and the looks on your faces were not, yes, awesome. They were, oh no.
That was not intentional.
That's not true.
He said something to you, you said something to him, and then you both kind of look up at me, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to finish, much less.
We were close enough we could carry you. Throw your ass.
We'd have thrown you over.
Yeah. So I got my banana, I got my t-shirt, and I ended up talking to Gonzo and Scout there for a little while.
Yeah.
And they seemed to have a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Went inside and grabbed my bag, and I was going to go over to the water hoses and at least do a whore bath and get the top layer off, And I'm over there leaned up against a big like water bag that was holding down a tent. I'm just leaned up against it, drinking my little whatever that was. And about to go and get in the whore bath, and my phone starts lighting up, and it's him going, "Hey, where are you?
Yeah.
We're at the exit. I'm like, God, dude, we just finished like 5 minutes ago. Can we just sit and rest and people watch for a minute?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the show out here? It's funny." But yeah, he was like, "Yeah, Francis is fading.
Not long for this world."
Yes, he needs to get in a car seat and
a pacifier.
I need a Gatorade and a Snickers bar stat. So yeah, bailed out of there, and then Booties. I think everybody was equally miserable at Booties.
Yeah.
But overall, man, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so did I.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
I've
fun.
never been in so much pain and had that much fun.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Well,
we're doing it in February.
We're doing it in February.
Yeah, so that, and that was just kind of, I don't know how that even came about, man. I knew that because I'd already talked to Nikki and Katie about doing
had
it.
interest.
When we were camping the weekend before the Spartan race, that's when we all kind of decided that we were going to do a 5K in February. So from the previous race, I remember that booth being there where you get half off if you buy race day tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit hot, man, I'll go ahead and do that. Pre-purchase the tickets and we're good, right? And then I don't know what the conversations were like on the back end, but all of a sudden, a few days later, I get texts from both of you guys going, "Hey, we're going to do this too."
Yeah.
So,
Not expected, because you were like, "Hey, we should do this." And in that moment, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never doing this again." And Cass texts me and goes, "Hey, I was talking to Alicia. Alicia said she's down to do the sprint. And what about Susie?" And I was like, "There is no way, Not that Susie wouldn't want to do it, but I didn't want to do it. So I was going to throw Susie under the bus.
let me speak for Susie.
Yeah, exactly. And say, I'm
going to make a command decision for the family.
I look at Susan. I'm like, "Hey, do you have any interest?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it." Like, took me 3 hours to answer.
There was my
the
out.
first time he talked about it. Took Susan 30 seconds. Yeah, I'll do it. Huh. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna bring the team to the race.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man.
Yeah.
Run up with the ladies this time.
Katie and Nikki has been working out.
Yeah, you told me that.
He's been consistently going to the gym.
Awesome.
We actually me and Katie went and met him up at EOS a couple weekends ago, and just, it was the Saturday before the race. We did that because I just went in and just jumped on the elliptical to stay loose, do something a lot of stretching that day. But they went and did a whole full workout, and he's down a few pounds. He's starting to feel good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. He's excited about it.
Wins.
Caleb and Colin are going to join us for it, and they're both studs, so they'll have no issues with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll we're kind of planning to get in the back and just be the slow pack that we laugh at each other. We have
it'll
some
be fun, man.
and
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, looking forward.
And
to
this
it.
one's not at PR. It's
This is a Fort McDowell.
Yeah.
So probably
Different.
a lot of hills.
Yeah, different.
Yeah.
All the things I hated the most are going to be
Replicated.
Yeah.
One thing that stands out to me after doing 2 of them is there's something on that course that's going to highlight a weakness of yours.
Yeah.
It could be something vertical. It could be a grippy thing. It could be carry a heavy thing. It could be mental.
Yeah.
But there's something on there that's going to challenge you individually. And this is what I describe when I talk about the difference between a Tough Mudder and a Spartan race. I think the Tough Mudder is more engineered towards team effort. Everybody wins. Let's go out and have a good time and get through this. Sure, there's some competitive elements to it, but I think the Spartan is a little more individual.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more gray matter between your ears kind of thing. And I mean, there were points on the course I know that I was just like, fucking sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
6.2 miles is 6.2 miles.
Yeah.
However you scratch it. And then you start adding in some of this other
Yeah, all the obstacles make it.
Some bruised up elbows, some scabbed up
all the
knees.
obstacles make it more difficult for sure.
Definitely added an element of suck to the whole thing. But hashtag worth it, man. Do it again.
Hard things.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Francis, I want to have you back on for a Francis part 2 because I want to talk about not necessarily the emotional side, but that, like, I wonder if you would have ever gotten to this point to start to go down that road with us if not for back in February, that process of beginning self-inspection and defining personal values for yourself and
goal setting,
right? And who am I and what do I really want to be the fuck about
Yeah.
now? Right. Like I've been doing the same thing for a long time, showing up the same way,
Blah, blah, blah.
with the same response, the same attitude, the same whatever to whatever the situation is for a long time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you started to peel, those layers back a little bit, and we're going, holy shit, dude, I've got some work to do on this side of the house as well. Right.
Yeah. And it's all same knot, right? It's just a different thread.
Yeah, exactly. It's another knot.
All right,
but
I'll
it's
come
still
back,
a knot.
but next time I'm charging. So.
Yeah.
We can do it remote.
Yeah, because I'd really like to hear your side of the story on that too, because all of the stuff that you did, I'm so proud of you for like the work that you put in the last 6 months, and like the Spartan race was a ton of fun. And just seeing the changes that you made, and the grit and the determination, the discipline that you put into it, like it's just it's a great success story, man. And and I'm proud of you because it's hard. Those are hard things to do, and you've stuck with it, brother. And now you're starting to realize the gains from it, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing the results, which is, it's always great when you see guys go through that process.
Well, not to skim over this, but we talk about the journey all the time, and you don't focus on the end result and everything. This was a 5-month process.
Yeah.
This was not, just over the summer or, something
wasn't a 1 month thing or a 3-week thing, or
we were having these discussions in March and April about making some lifestyle changes. Yeah. Right. And here we are in December recording this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a long process,
it's a
guys.
Process. It takes time.
And it takes time. But the journey is, you look back on it, man. And now we can laugh about those days in the desert and those workouts with Sherry and the race. I mean, now we can laugh about and giggle about that kind of shit because you did the work.
Yeah.
Right? And all of that kind of stems to the beta group, right? And I don't know what you guys put out there about the beta group, but kind of the awakening of it and the journey. A lot of it's physical, but most of the journey is between the years.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of mental reps.
Trust me, I don't have a lot of space between my ears.
Yeah, I know there's not a lot of penguins on that iceberg over there.
See, I imagine like the universe, and there's all this dark matter between galaxies. That's what I imagine is going on in your brain. Like there's a synapse over here, maybe a neuron over there, and then there's like just dark black emptiness.
That gives me way too much credit. It's
the emptiness of
random
faith.
single thoughts, one at a time. Don't let go.
But yeah, I wonder if, had it not been for the work that we did, because you said up front, you didn't even have that self-awareness of where you were, and how far you had either let yourself go or how far you needed to go to get back to where you wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't even recognize it. You couldn't see the forest from the trees.
Yep.
And I don't know that you would have been able to do that had it not been for the
do
work that we had done in February, March, into April in the beta group with, dude, let's talk about how to set goals. Let's talk about self-inspection. Let's talk about defining personal values and personal accountability and integrity and how we're going to work in that process, right?
You got to be honest with yourself.
Well, that's the hard
that's
part.
hard.
Yeah. And
I know I remember getting texts from you going, dude, you CAS.
you suck.
Like you suck so bad. Like fuck you, dude. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. No, I think all that, not to say that you want to claim credit for what you do. You want to, and you do the hard work yourself. But there are triggers there that started moving at least my ball in the right direction that have nothing to do with me.
CAS moved your balls? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I was trying not to give him props, but Roscoe standing over the top of me going, the beta group, the other things that have nothing to do with me other than the fact that I showed up.
Yeah.
Set that in motion, right? And which is, the world out there. Why waste my time listening to podcasts? I don't know. One might resonate with you to solve your demons, or to get you acknowledging your demons, or to get you to be a better version of yourself, or insert the platitude.
Yeah.
But dude, I saw your name on the podcast thing on Facebook, and I'm like, this ought to be really good, right? So I play it, and you guys are actually talking about stuff that resonates with me, right? So, and that was just the pebble over the edge.
Yeah.
You're a good example too of something. Something that I do is I look for people who are better than me in whatever area it is, right? And I'm not fluffing us up or anything, but you were in a spot,
different strengths.
We were in a different we were on a different level, and you kind of took that as motivation, and I do the same thing. I read books and stuff, and I go, man, this guy's such a good, like, he's so descriptive of these things, and how can I be better than that? So I think that's important for us to. I'm not saying like create idols or anything like that, but it's a carrot to chase.
But I also think it's fair to say that there's been a fair amount of mentorship along this path for you from both of us, and other people in your life, not just us, but like there's been, you sought people out, right? Yeah. You found people who could mentor you and teach you and give you the information that you needed to get better at whatever that was, whether it was me or Roscoe or Ryan on the nutrition piece of it, right? Like there's people out there that can help you. You just have to seek that out. You have to put the ego aside, have a little courage and go ask the question.
But what's funny is this now, that if you separately messaged us, you're going to get two different answers.
Yeah.
That point towards the same thing.
Yeah, there's different ways to attack it.
Three circles that overlap.
Right? Yeah, like a three-body problem or a Venn diagram. That's what
I don't know what you're
then. Yeah,
3 circles. That's a round shape
that has the thing in the middle.
Yeah,
that's a Venn.
But they all overlap. Right?
Yeah.
But he's, CAS is really good at the more empathetic side, the soft language.
Yeah, that's why I like him a lot more.
I'm a little bit more laugh at you and
get up. Well, remember that? Remember that meme that I sent you? This is how I view Roscoe, and it's from the movie Friday, and it's Debo. It's just a 2-second clip where it's Debo there, and he's like, "Quit being a bitch and come on." And
that's it.
That is my Roscoe.
Sometimes you need that, though.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes you don't need to be coddled.
Well,
sometimes
if you don't have it, you're wasting time.
Sometimes, and I could be better at the more
soft skills,
so to speak. But every now and then, man, you just need to be told, like, it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This sucks.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Like,
I love
your elbow's hurt. Cry me a fucking river.
Yeah.
There's a bucket that needs to be carried.
Your artery is severed. Deal with it. Move on.
Yeah. Well, you can pinch it.
Yeah.
So, but you can still move that.
No,
way.
I totally agree. And I'm horrible with this, but standing around and highlighting a problem I have a visceral reaction to it. I hate it. It's like, dude, I don't care. Let's keep moving. And then I met Roscoe, who has that to the nth degree, and I'm like, oh cow, dude. But like even at home, hey, this is happening. Okay. And Susie will look at me and go, no, we need to talk about this. I was like, I don't know, let's keep moving forward. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good and bad. Yeah. And
I like that's the gray in the notch, right?
That's something that I need to work on a little bit more. And I like to think that I'm getting a little bit better at it.
Yeah.
Katie gives me ample opportunities to learn this, but like you, I'm a slow learner sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the direct approach is, to me, it's just the shortest distance between two lines.
It is.
And
economy of effort.
Yeah. Also, it's not as tactful in a lot of ways.
Well, and sometimes things aren't that simple. Sometimes
you're right.
Sometimes it's not just X to Y and Y to Z. Sometimes there's other things that have to be done in between those two that require you to focus on, or at least have conversations around, if you want a better outcome at Y or Z.
I don't care about the outcome. I just want to be right.
So
that's that thing. Whereas, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then everything looks like
everything looks like a nail.
So you need more tools in your tool bag so that you can solve whatever problem it is.
Yep.
I like to think that we throw a lot of those little nuggets out there, more so from you than me. But
no, you do a good job too, bro. I think it's a good balance.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What else? You drove all the way over here. The floor is yours. Tell us about yourself.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Spartan race.
That was.
You said in the post game of the race, you said that you had some goals for 2025. But you were having a problem trying to quantify and qualify those. Did you find anything?
That was pregame to the race?
Was it?
Yeah. It
Okay.
was before, you're like, hey, where are we going
Irregardless.
to go from here?
Yeah, what's next?
And those are falling into place, man. Running with Susie. She's into marathon stuff, which I hate every second of. But we've been doing that together, and that's awesome. We've been doing it with Cass and Alicia a little bit. So we're going to do a 10.5 back-to-back in September. We're going to do the Spartan in February. We're going to do this Tucson marathon that Cass and Susie just did next
December,
but that's a ways off.
We have a 10K in January.
10K in January.
And Spartan in February.
Yeah, we're dropping little things in the trail to keep moving. And the beast is in the back of my mind and how to fit that in. And if that will kill us, we'll see. But like you said, it's just nobody's conquering mountains every day.
No.
You put a mountain out there in front of you a ways off and figure it out.
Well,
yeah, dude.
And that's a good point. Spartan, 10K, 25 obstacles, 6.2 miles. You don't win the Spartan race in July.
Yeah.
Right? You start by picking up that heavy ass rock and carrying it 100 yards.
Yeah.
You start by doing 10 burpees in the dirt.
Yep.
You start by throwing on that weighted vest and climbing that hill 10 or 15 times, however many times we did it. You don't, it's like, I've used this analogy with my kids a lot of times. Like, you can't win a NASCAR race on the first lap.
Yeah.
But you can lose it on the first lap. And if you go out there and you try to overdo it, if you try to start training for a marathon that you're not doing until December next year, bro, you're going to run 26 miles every day for a year. You don't have to do that, man.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, you're killing yourself, man. So
and I learned that watching Susie train for her marathon. She had this app that dictated what her training sessions would look like.
Yeah, that's what Cass was doing, right?
It's like run a mile.
Yeah, it starts simple, man.
Yeah, I mean, because you're on, it's a humdinger.
Because here's the deal. Like, if you're gonna run any kind of distance, and this, I've just learned this because I just ran my first half marathon yesterday. It's not about running long distances right away. It's about putting mileage on your body consistently and then building that endurance over time so that you can do a long run when it's time to do a long run, right? And that's all it's about. And so it's baby steps, man. Like everything we talk about, it's small little goals. You just you slowly tear up the distances you're doing, and
well, those small runs that you're doing though, 2, 3, 4 miles, that's where you work on your technique.
Yeah, pace.
That's where you
endurance,
practice your hydration,
stride, all that stuff.
You get the gear right, your wardrobe, and that's where you practice all that little stuff.
Yeah, these shoes work, these shoes don't work.
Yeah, and that shit pays dividends.
It does.
It makes me spontaneously shit myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
No, but Susie would do this. It was time. It wasn't distance.
Yep.
It didn't want to lock your mindset into distance.
No.
It was run for 12 minutes.
Yeah,
that's good.
Walk for 2 minutes, not walk a half mile.
Yeah.
Walk 2 minutes. And that way you don't imprint Roscoe's distance goals on yourself, or anybody else.
Because I'm on the treadmill next to Cass and he's already walking, catching his breath, and I still got a half mile to go.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Sucks.
Yeah, so I noticed that about her training program.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Alicia's been training too, and she just did 6 miles for the first time a week or so ago, and a lot of her program's been walk run. It's because it's just you have to let your body recover, and just to your point, Roscoe, because if you just go out and go, well, fuck it, I'm going to go run 6 miles, but you've never run 6 miles before, you ain't running 6 miles without hurting something or exploding your heart or whatever, or throwing up 5 times on the way to it. It's just there's things that you have to do to build up the resistance and the endurance up to it, right? So
now the next day, that's a different story.
That's right. Well, and then you set yourself back in training too if you do that kind of shit.
But that's how you end up with blowing out your knee on the Spartan race,
hurting something.
Yeah, you
got to build your body up. It takes time.
Didn't train properly for the event that we were doing, and I paid the price for it.
Yeah, I'd say you were on a path, and then whatever reason, we all have our reasons why we get off our path, right? Something interrupted you, because when we first started, you were smoking, dude.
It's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, but and you want to talk about being between the ears, man. I can find about 50 reasons that Rob didn't want to get up and go out and run in the desert with Roscoe again, dude, because it's Saturday and there's football on.
Yep.
Not for another 9 hours.
Ho
But there's
hos
still
and-
going to be football.
Ho-hos and bonbons, and
Yeah.
and that pizza smells really good, and fuck it, let's go to Booties, and yeah.
Well, that's really the only reason we talk about motivation and all this crap. The only reason I did this was so that we could all go get chicken wings after that race, dude. And those are some good chicken.
Dude, you need those rewards, though.
Shameless plug for
No, you
Booties
need those
chicken
rewards.
wings.
When Katie and I walked 9.5 miles around Universal, and the whole time I'm just thinking about, I'm getting that damn sundae. I'm getting that brownie sundae at Hard Rock when we go over there, and I ate every bit of it.
And if that's what it takes,
hated myself afterwards, but God damn, it was good.
Yeah.
Cool. What else, man?
That's all I got. You got anything, Francis?
No, sir.
All right.
Be the change.
Be the one.
Thanks for flying with the Be One Change One podcast. If you got something out of this show, then be the one and share it in your circles of influence.
You can be our wingman through our website at www.be1change1.com. That's B and the number 1, change and the number 1.com.
We invite you to be the one and join our fighter squadron on social media at Be1Change1 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can follow us at Paul Roscoe White on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, as well as Roscoe's website, www.paulroscoewhite.com.
You can email us from the website, and please leave comments, share, and ask questions, or leave ideas of things you would like to discuss on future podcasts. Most importantly, be the one that helps us win the algorithm by leaving a review on whatever platform you're listening on.
Thanks for joining. Until next time, be the one.